Hi guys, welcome back. Today I'm kind of excited because this might be my first reading vlog. Let's see how I do with filming in general, but today is the first day of the Hungry Bookworm Non-fiction readathon, which is gonna go for 2 weeks, and during that time I've set myself the goal of reading as much non-fiction as I can, and I thought it might be fun to kind of update you in between on how I'm getting on and how I'm liking what I'm reading. So I guess this is gonna be a vlog. Let's see how this goes. Today is Monday the 26th, the first day of the readathon, and I am gonna start my day working on my thesis. So I'm gonna be writing most of the day, but I'm gonna do some breaks in between to get to some reading. I'm also forcing myself to go out at least once a day, so I don't know, I might take you along, let's see, and I'll update you as I go on. Hi guys! So I just came back from my lunch break. I went out and I got something to eat. I ate my lunch and I read a little, so I thought I would update you a bit on what I've been reading in the past few days. I started reading Medieval Bodies, Life, Death and Art in the Middle Ages by Jack Hartnell, and I picked this up completely on a whim. I talked about it in my TBR, my non-fiction TBR video. Of course, typical of me, I ended up picking up something else than I planned. This is how mood readers are. So I am already almost 2/3 through, and I've already put some notes in here because so far this book is really fascinating. You get a lot of insights into how people's minds worked in the Middle Ages. There's always a nice overview over different places, so you have things about Britain, but also France, Germany, further away. You also have what was happening in the Islamic world at that time. I particularly enjoyed the chapter about the heart, because as you can imagine, there's many ways the heart was seen. It was used as an object of worship. In the Christian or Catholic faith, you have a lot of things about the heart being like a receptacle for your faith. I also really enjoyed the chapter about bones, and because this ties in a bit about how people view death and like burial practices. This is something I find interesting in general. And for lunch today I started the chapter about the stomach, and this was really fascinating because it was really interesting to hear about what the theories were about how people digested stuff. And in these times people thought that the food would first go through the intestine and then somehow it would be filtrated, and then this would kind of be processed by the body, but people thought it would be something like a fermentation process. So I guess people kind of applied principle that they saw in nature and kind of put it inside their bodies. So I thought this was really fascinating. So far, really enjoying it. It's really not dense. The font is a bit small, but there's a lot of documentations and of pictures. So I really, really recommend it so far. I'll give you my final thoughts when I finished it, but really, really great non-fiction works if you're interested in the Middle Ages or art in general. This is really great. Good morning. Today is August the 27th and I thought I would quickly update you because yesterday evening I read quite a chunk of more of Medieval Bodies. I read the chapter, I finished the chapters about the stomach and the gut, and I also finished the one about genitals. I really, really liked this chapter because the author was going a bit in detail about essentially the misogyny that you could already see from sources from these times in terms of how people viewed the female body compared to the male body. And you know, apart from the whole humors theory of like health and so on, that somehow you know, women are like essentially kind of a colder body and men are more of a warm body, all this kind of weird stuff. There's also a lot about what implications for the society this had and for the life of women in the Middle Ages, how childbirth was viewed and how menstruation was viewed. And yeah, I really, really, really enjoyed this chapter. I think it was really eye-opening, really interesting, and also kind of scary how some of these preconceptions that society has or tabuization over the women's body is really, 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 really old, and we haven't moved out really far from it until today. So definitely a great read, and I think I will probably finish this within the next few days, and I can give you my full thoughts on this book then. Hey guys, today is the 28th of August and I am very, very close to finishing reading Medieval Bodies. I just had my lunch and I just want to get a bit of reading done before I go back to writing. So I'm gonna do a little reading session now, and hopefully by the end of it I can tell you my final thoughts on this book. Hey guys, I just finished Medieval Bodies by Jack Hartnell, and I thought I would give you my thoughts on this book. Overall, I am really, really happy I got to this during this readathon. I'm really happy I read it at all. I really, really enjoyed it. I thought that the writing was very engaging. It is not heavy at all. It's compulsively readable. I think I read it in just under a week, and there's a lot to unpack in here. Overall, I thought the structure of it was quite interesting, going from different body parts, from the head to the feet. I must say though that some of these chapters regarding some specific body parts were not exclusively about this, so if you're expecting that this book is only about the body and things related to it, it isn't necessary like this in the whole book. I guess that for the author on some points the information was just too thin, and what he then does is go a bit beyond that particular body part and start talking about things that are related to it but are still related to life in medieval times. So to me it didn't bother me, though I must say, for example, the second to last chapter, which is about feet, was very thin on the body content, And the author started going to what it meant to travel in these times, what travel possibilities were available. So it's a bit of a stretch, and it might be considered as a tangent a bit. This chapter was really the one where it was the most obvious for me, but it's fine because there are plenty of other chapters with plenty of really interesting insights and artworks from medieval times. I really enjoyed also the last chapter, which is about the future of medieval bodies. What can we do with them today? What information can we learn? And it goes a bit into new techniques that are being used, like sequencing of ancient DNA and so on, which I think are completely fascinating topics, and all this information that is available to us today to understand better how people lived. You know, you just need to make a few really routine tests nowadays to find out the sex of the body. You can see if they had any injuries during their lives, and it just tells a whole story, and I think this is really fascinating. And in general, I think this book really shows us this, that these bodies are really alive, and there is so much information to be found in history and in the literature of the time. I think I'm kind of gushing, right? So I really liked this book. Apart from these little parts that were a bit weaker and that the author then started going on tangents, I really enjoyed it. I mean, obviously you cannot cover everything with such a big and broad topic. I do see that, and I think for the hugeness of the topic, the author really pinpoints some really interesting aspects. So would really recommend this. I really enjoyed it. Hey guys, so I just filmed 2 videos, so I thought I'd take the opportunity to update you on how my reading is going. Yesterday I started Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race by Reni Eddo-Lodge. I am about exactly 50 pages in, and I am very much enjoying it so far. It is clearly really well researched into specific historic incidents of racism in the UK. In the first few pages, she is telling us how she came to be interested in that topic at all, and she argues that as a Brit, she learns a lot about the civil rights movements in the USA, but barely anything about the UK, and that really shows how it's kind of taboo, the topic is kind of taboo. And she goes a bit into how, you know, colonialism, British colonialism, was very much built on slavery, just as much as people getting rich in the southern United States around that time. And yeah, really enjoying this, and I will keep you updated as I go on with this. And now I am about to go on and take my daily walk, and I'm gonna take the audiobook with me, The Uninhabitable Earth. I started listening to it on my walk yesterday already and was really overwhelmed by it, in a good but also in a bad way, because the author begins by drawing us a picture of what Earth will look like if we arrive at the point where the predictions on how much the Earth will heat up until 2100, how Earth will look like and how this will affect us as humans and all the other organisms around us. And it was really overwhelming. I know global warming is happening, and the more you look at it, you see, like, I can see already now how much has changed since I grew up in terms of, you know, heat waves and hurricanes and stuff. Like, there's so many examples, and it's, you know, it's clearly happening, but it's even more overwhelming when you have, you know, the author serving you this enunciation of 100 places where this happened and then this happened and this is how it will be, and this will be 5 times as stronger, or this will be happening 10 times more often. So it's definitely not an easy read to stomach, but I think it's also a really important one, because it's very much a slap in the face, just giving you the things how they are. And it's not only speculation, because he talks about stuff that has happened already and what impact it had for certain countries or certain regions of the world and how it might look like in the future. So yeah, I'm enjoying it, if you can say that. I enjoy where it's going. Like I think I'm gonna like the structure of it and what it's gonna tell. I also really recommend the audiobook because it's narrated by the author, and yeah, I'll also keep you updated on that one. Hey guys, I just finished working for today, so I thought I would quickly tell you about the book that I finished yesterday evening. I finished Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race by Reni Eddo-Lodge, and I can tell you the last 3 parts, and this is split into I think 6 or 7 parts. The last 3 to 4 parts, I just flew through it. I started reading it a bit and then I thought, no, I have to finish this today. I really, really enjoyed this book. It's a 5-star read for me. It made me think, it made me question how I view race, how I view my own race, and all the privileges that come with it. Especially in the first 1 or 2 chapters, she shows a lot of examples that are very UK-centric. I think there's something to learn from this by anyone, and I certainly did take a lot with me reading this, and I annotated so many places that I want to read again and dip into. It's just a wonderful book and really important one, and I think everyone should read it. In the meantime, I also continued reading The Uninhabitable Earth, and I can only say for now that it went from this very pessimistic listing of all the problems that would happen, it went to more in detail, and the second part is split into different aspects of what global warming would do to our planet. And for example, today over lunch I listened to the part about drowning and the sea levels rising and so on. So it's still very engaging. I like the structure of it, and it's clearly very well researched. And yeah, it's not the most cheery read or listen, but I think it's also really important. And so far I have almost nothing bad to say about it, but I will tell you my final thoughts when I have them. Hi guys, today is Friday the 6th of September and it's almost the end of the Hungry Bookworm Non-fiction readathon, so I thought I would update you on the last book I am finishing. And I have finished it yesterday evening, and I'm still kind of processing what I read and what I learned in this book. It just touches upon so many things, and I think it's a book that definitely makes you think for a long time after reading it. For me, the beginning was a bit slow starting, but I absolutely adored especially the second half. I really liked how the author went into different other aspects of climate change, not just the imminent things that are happening to the earth and to the environment, but also the implications for the whole world that we know around us. There's a whole chapter about how economy will be affected and what it means, and in which ways this economy might change or will have to change, otherwise no one or nothing of that will actually survive. I absolutely adored the chapter about storytelling, so the stories we tell ourselves about climate change or climate change issues are communicated by scientists, by the media, how that affects how we see it, and also the pitfalls of the way we can talk about climate change, because you have this stuff that's happening for years and years and scientists warning about it, and how humans have this thing of like, there's this baseline level of, yeah, this is happening, and to start making it a normality, and how people like scientists have to really think how they put this information to the public and to people for them to really start acting. And another chapter that was really fascinating was really from the point of view of humans and this whole psychology of denial about climate change, or just the fact that it's really hard as a single person to just fathom all the facets of this problem, and how it makes it really difficult to start acting about it, because there's this paralysis about all these layers of this problem that you cannot even begin to imagine. And also, and very rightly so, the author is also arguing a lot about how we humans also have this certain God complex, that we just think something, someone will make it all good again, and deep down there's not really much to worry about. And there's always this thing in the back of our heads that there will be this Deus Ex Machina moment, someone will swoop in and save the day, and this is not going to happen. And I think the author really puts this across really well. In summary, I would definitely say, if you're just remotely interested in climate change and the effects it will have on our Earth, if you want something that really makes you think and makes you want to act and makes you want to consider what you're doing and what you can do better, then I absolutely recommend this book. It's really, really good. It's not an easy read, but it's definitely an important one. Okay, so I guess I will end this vlog today, because I actually don't have any plans on starting another non-fiction book in the 2 days that are left. I am really happy with the 3 books that I read. All 3 of them were really phenomenal and I really recommend them. I just have this feeling that I need a bit of a break from non-fiction, which is not a bad thing, because then it will make me even more excited to get to the other ones I haven't gotten to in November, for non-fiction November. Thank you so much for following me along on this vlog. I hope that you enjoyed this format and that it was somehow entertaining to you. I hope you are reading great non-fiction works and just great books in general this month, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!